Welcome to the Dr. DC podcast. My name is producer Richard, and across from me is the doctor himself.
Hello.
Each week we talk about the weird and wonderful world of DC while fielding questions like from listeners just like you.
Stuck it.
Yeah. Nailed the landing.
Yeah.
This is a special episode.
It is, because it's Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah.
Dash will turn off the podcast.
God. Just assume every other episode is turn off the podcast.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, it's a special episode because it's Valentine's Day. Thought we would have a little chat about about feelings,
a discussion about a specific comic book, perchance.
That too, but I want to talk about feelings.
Oh, do you? Feelings, memories.
Can I borrow a feeling? It's dignity, Luann. Yeah.
I just watched the Hank Scorpio episode yesterday.
So
God, so good.
Yeah, no, we're going to be talking about a particular instance of superheroes actually getting married for Valentine's Day. It's the Green Arrow Black Canary Wedding Special,
which I knew little less than none about of any of this. I don't even know if I knew that they got married ever.
So this is from pre-Flashpoint. It's from like the sort of mid 2000s. But yeah, do you want to go through talk a bit about go through the plot, and then we'll sort of talk about what you liked or didn't like?
Yeah. So looking at the cover of this book, I kind of loved it. It was super refreshing.
Yeah.
It felt like something that you would see in like a 50s or 60s cartoon kind of thing.
Yeah, well, Amanda Connor's artwork is a little more cartoony.
It's almost like an I Love Lucy sort of animated vibe.
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah.
Which I loved. It was so refreshing to finally see something like this. After reading so much, a lot of Batman lately and that kind of thing, it's nice to look at something that's completely the opposite.
Yeah.
So I loved this cover because you have Black Canary with a Green Arrow over her shoulder, she's bringing him over the threshold.
Well, yeah, fireman kind of carry.
Which I love that. I think that's so cute. The writing on it is everyone who's anyone in the DCU will be there, and you won't believe this wedding night. It's almost and there's a little bit of almost like a soap opera vibe to it. It's very sort of campy, and it doesn't feel like a regular DC book at all. Yeah.
Well, and like I said, Amanda Connor's artwork is definitely more on that kind of bubbly, fun, bright, cartoony side. She, some of her more recent work is Starfire or Harley Quinn or things like that, right? Where it really kind of pops.
It's a palate cleanser, honestly, from a lot of DC, and it's something that I think I could read more of. I don't know if it would be the main type of book I would read, but it's nice to put this in a little bit more.
Sure,
so this is the first issue.
Well, yeah. So this is a special. It's a number 1, and then it leads into the first issue of Green Arrow Black Canary as a title,
which is awesome. And I knew that obviously these two characters are associated with one another and have a long history, but I didn't know that this marriage had happened. I mean, it makes sense, but CW has really fucked up their whole relationship. So, and Black Canary in general. So
current continuity, they have not been married or anything like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore, but their relationship still exists and things like that. And some of the things that this issue touches on, like the trials and tribulations of said relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, and without giving anything away, this is maybe a relatively rare instance of superheroes actually going through with getting married.
That's true.
Because there's lots of times where that doesn't happen.
They love to set that up in
Nightwing and Starfire, or Batman and Catwoman, or whatever. There's not as many where they actually go through with it. So So why don't we get into the actual issue then?
Yeah, absolutely. So it opens up, and you're just kind of getting like a very brief backstory of like that. A lot of superheroes are in relationships, but like this one has been this very sort of long, like contentious relationship for a long time, and they've always felt it's been strong feelings forever, whether that's like anger or love. Like,
yes,
it's a very fiery sort of relationship. One of the things that I like, my first thoughts when I started opening up this book is that I feel like from an artwork standpoint, like I really like what they're doing, but it feels every frame feels disconnected from one another. Like the lighting's different in every single one. The like color palette is really different. Like it's tough.
I think part of that is that they're actually referencing specific comics from the history of Green Arrow and Black Canary.
For sure.
So like there's, you know, as they're talking about, you know, like we had good times, bad times, anger, blah, blah, blah. You know, we see like a scene from the Longbow Hunters where Black Canary is tied up when she had gotten sort of like roughed up and stuff. We see, Green Arrow and Hyrax from right before he died. In the 90s, we see Black Canary and I think it's Ra's al Ghul from when that happened. So I think part of that color palette changing is trying to make a specific visual reference to these other eras.
Okay, now that makes
and other
more
books,
sense. Because that makes a lot of sense because it isn't like that the rest of the book. And so after you've done this sort of introductory couple pages, you actually get into this sort of like introduction splash page, which is this sort of like Cupids and the big heart, almost like the I Love Lucy type of thing, where they're like, you would think that the loving couple would be in the middle, and they are there, but they're like arguing.
Yeah.
And I love the comedy of the whole thing is so funny. Like, this is a really funny book.
It is, yeah.
Like, I've never read a comic book that made me like chuckle the way that this one did.
Yeah.
I've never had that. Like, this is the funniest book I've ever read.
Right.
Not that I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of funny books out there. I just haven't been exposed to them.
Well, yeah.
But for this one, and even like the like, it's all sort of winking at lots of different types of things, like from the font to like the artwork to the framing that they set up. So I just love this. Like, they're in the middle of the heart, and it's like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, and obviously the swears are bleeped out, but it's like, I'm marrying a piece of shit like you, so I must be out of my fucking mind. I love that. Like,
yeah, she's like, they're really screaming at each other.
Yeah, and I just love the idea, and also I love that the little Cupids also have little superhero masks on.
Yeah.
It's a nice little extra touch.
So we're maybe like a couple of weeks out from their wedding at this point in the comic. You're not exactly sure like what the timing is, but it's soon. Like, they're about to get married shortly. Well, but they haven't sent their invitations yet.
But they've also just the next frame is the setup where they basically like are. Like, they're arguing about just like being a team and like how they're not good team members with each other, and suddenly that turns into like this gigantic fight where they end up like fighting and then making out and then about to have sex, and that's when she decides, she's like, I don't want to do this.
Well, yeah. She's like, she stops them. Yeah,
she stops them, and she's like, "Oh, we shouldn't do it until we like get married." And it's like, part of me's like, seems like you guys have already done this before.
Well, even Oliver says that. He says the train's kind of left the station on wearing white, Dinah.
Yeah, that's like, it's kind of funny, but it's like they basically like jokingly like are like, all right, fine. Like, it feels like one of those like when people end up like going to Vegas and getting married type situations.
It's very like sitcom-y too, though, where because the panels leading up, like they're yelling at each other is very intense, and that intensity carries over. Like, they're really like ripping the clothes off each other. Like, it's a like weirdly kind of sexy comic. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, no, we should wait until we're actually married. And then the next like 2 pages of Oliver Queen is like, but can we fuck, please?
One of my favorite lines is they're arguing and they're talking about the teamwork thing, and then Oliver goes, maybe we should go rustle up one of your old dance partners, Hawkman, Ra's al Ghul, the U.S. Navy.
Yeah.
That's when he gets slapped. And
they have such like a tempestuous relationship. Like, it's one of those.
It's something that I can like relate to a bit.
Stars kind of burning bright sort of thing.
I can relate to this relationship a bit.
Though, and that's the whole sort of front bit of this issue, from the flashback stuff about like somehow there's a connection between them that has endured the best and worst.
Yeah.
And then even as they're prepping for a wedding and like this very happy thing, it's still like, even now it hasn't settled down.
Yeah.
Like nothing about them is standard or settled or kind of cliche that way. Right?
I also love when they're about to like start doing it, they do the whole like, she's like, wait. And he's like, what? Do you want to do it in the kitchen? And she's like, no, we should wait. And he's like, to do it in the kitchen? And she's like, what's with you in the kitchen? He's like, I thought that you liked it in there, last time. And she's like, I don't even know. I'm just trying to keep up with you. And she's like,
it is pretty fun. But this is a thing, not to get too far off track, but this is a thing that the TV show gets so wrong, is that
right?
Oliver, for all of his times where he is serious, is also fucking funny.
He's so funny in this. And
Oliver is clever and witty and things like that, and that is like completely lost on that show.
No. I mean, they make
even Batman's fucking wittier than Arrow on the show.
I was gonna say, I'm like, they kind of just make Arrow Batman. Like that's
But even Batman in this comic is wittier than Green Arrow on that show.
It's true. So we then go into the scene where they're starting to write the actual invites for this.
Yeah, we see a bunch of people getting them. Yeah.
This book, for some reason, has a huge thing against Snapper Carr. I don't know if that's like a Green Arrow thing or something, but
Snapper Carr's stupid.
But like,
I've talked about that before,
and they say that a lot in this. But like, is there any history, or is this comic that they just want to make fun of Snapper Carr?
Yeah, just because he was like the Justice League's mascot in the 60s. It was just this beatnik kid that snapped, and they were like, "Oh, why don't you hang out with us?"
It's just so funny because they're like,
stupid.
I love it. Oliver's like, "Are we really inviting Snapper Carr?" And she was like, Black Canary's like, "What's wrong with him?" And he's like, "He's an idiot." Like, and this comes up later on, it's very funny.
It's actually a plot point.
And it's funny because they talk about not everybody knows everybody's secret identity. Like, we're going to clearly have to everyone's going to have to be in costume at this. Yeah. Like, it's going to look ridiculous.
Which is an interesting detail, that you wouldn't necessarily think of. Not everyone's identity is even known in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So to allow everyone to be there, they're saying, show up as your hero self.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny. It feels as jokingly it feels to me like a real relationship.
Yes.
Where it's just it's a lot of joking, a lot of fighting, but at the end of the day, they seem to genuinely love each other.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the reason why this is the one marriage that goes through. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
But what I love is they have the shot with everybody getting their invites. It's just this sort of Hollywood Squares thing where it's just a grid of all of these different people getting it.
Very different reactions.
Well, for the most part, everybody's kind of I don't think this is going to work it, but so it's it'll never work. So not going to work. I can't, dude, I cannot believe they invited me.
I think Hal says something I can't believe he did it.
Yeah.
He actually, he's going through with it.
Exactly.
Because obviously Hal and Ollie have a history as friends and superhero partners and things like that.
I love Batman's Alfred, tell him I can't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is it's a great grid. I would love to just have that as a piece of art. It's such a funny thing. And then we actually go into,
I think Vixen says something there's another one off the market or something like that. There's some funny reactions to these invites going on.
I love that. Then we get a full panel page of Superman getting the invite he's with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Now, where's their relationship at this point?
Superman and Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
They don't have one.
No, they don't? Okay. I
think Superman's already married to Lois.
Okay, because they're together and there's this whole conversation about them being Wonder Woman says that marriage will weaken them. And Superman's just marriage weakens people? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Clearly there's some contention there. Based on, I'm assuming that Clark's married to Lois then.
And it comes up in the conversation. What Wonder Woman clarifies is that they shouldn't marry. She believes that heroes shouldn't marry other heroes.
Yeah.
That the relationships that work are when they're married to someone that keeps them grounded and connected to real life, like Lois or like Steve Trevor. That Wonder Woman actually thinks it's a mistake for Green Arrow and Black Canary to get married, and Superman is this is maybe the most naive sounding Superman I've ever read in any comic. He's like, no, I think it's really nice. And they're doing something nice for us. Like, we're getting together and it's not a funeral. Like,
I kind of like this version. I like this
too. He's so like,
it's a very aw shucks like Clark Kent that we like know from like the Kent Farm.
But it's funny because in the comics, especially in the 90s, Superman notoriously does not like Oliver Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does not approve, does not like his methods, does not think he's he doesn't think he's bad, but he doesn't like, all he fucks up constantly, or he's, hooked up with lots of villains, things like that, like,
it's true.
And right before he died, like, Green Arrow didn't like Superman. Superman was like, I can help you escape this plane, but I'm going to cut off your arm. And he was like, fuck you, Supes. And he blows himself up. Like they don't have a history of a good relationship. So it's kind of funny too to see Superman being like, this is nice for Ollie.
Mm-hmm.
He's so like on board, which is kind of fun.
This is a version of Superman I would love to see more of. It's almost like on the edge of like the Tick. Like it's
sure, yeah.
I like that. It feels more of like a good old farm boy from the South. Like,
yeah.
Naive and innocent. Like I think that if I got more of this type of Superman, I think I'd read even more Superman, because this is the type where it's just like it's like that's it's like the Captain America sort of like, I'm from a different time and like, shucks y'all, like,
yeah.
I like that version of it against sort of the backdrop of all of this chaos and evil, like being able to see that. I don't know. I really like that characterization of him.
Yeah, totally.
So the next people that we get to introduce is probably my favorite part of this entire book. It's just such a funny scene. So we get it's Deathstroke and Dr. Savannah.
That's right. Dr. Savannah.
And it's just a shot with Dr. Savannah holding the invite up to his face, like looking with glee and being like, I'm going to a wedding, like, which I love. It feels like something out of like a good like Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
It brings me so much joy to see that, and
it feels like a thing you'd see in Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. That's exactly what it reminds me of. And Deathstroke's just like, how did you even find out about this? And this is where it comes back, because he's just like, he's like, I stole it from Snapper Carr, and he's just like, you did? And Dr. Savannah's just like, yeah, he's an idiot.
It's like he's like equally like disrespected by heroes and villains. It's pretty funny to me.
It's such a funny and unnecessary like thing to add in this book, and I love it because it literally holds no weight other than just to make fun of him, which I think is just amazing. It's
true.
I really like that. So the basic idea, his idea is that he's going to try to take out all of the superheroes all at once because they're going to be at one place.
Yeah. Well, they're going to try, but even in this conversation, like Deathstroke's like it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And Savannah's like, I know it's not, but like we're never going to get this shot again. Don't you want to try? Like even the villains are like, we get beaten all the time by the heroes. Like we won't beat them, but like maybe we should try to kill them all anyway, just in case we do.
Yeah. Because it's just like, well, I mean, like, we got to at least make the effort, right? Like,
which is kind of funny. It's that like illustration that like at a certain point, superheroes start superheroing to like protect citizens or whatever.
Yeah.
And supervillains are always doing something that endangers them. But at a certain point, the rivalry just becomes like self-propagating. Like they're only after each other. Like the people are like just collateral.
They're not even like trying to accomplish a goal anymore. Their goal is just become to take out the superhero.
And this is definitely like one of those things where it's like, God, like even just like meeting for a wedding is just inviting destruction. Like the heroes even become such a problem just by existing now.
Yeah.
Like they've been around for so long and these villain rivalries have been around for so long that like just getting together for anything is just inviting chaos.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, and you can't expect a wedding to happen in this universe that doesn't end up in this. This is just the only one that they actually end up getting married.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
So then we move now on to the bachelor party.
Oh yeah, yeah. The bachelorette parties are pretty funny.
It's so I just love that they included this. I love that you get to see everybody. You can see Ralph Dibny's there, like Clark's there. Like idea,
obviously,
the idea of all of these people like going out on a bachelor party is the funniest thing I've ever thought of. Like, it's something that I wish that I could see in like a movie or a TV show now.
Actually, that would be a funny like setup.
It's so funny. I just I just love that they're just like, yeah, you're getting hitched, you gotta have a bachelor party. Like,
and Ollie, weirdly, very like restrained. He's like, "Thank you, Hal, for not inviting strippers." And Hal goes, "Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why would I?
No, it's just the boys. Yeah. End of an era, you know. Just gotta do that."
So the guys go for like a quiet drink, and Hal releases the strippers he's got in the other room. He's like, "We don't need you guys anymore."
It's just so funny because the strippers.
And there's so many of them.
Well, the best is like there's so many of them, and it's just like you see like like a police officer and a cowgirl and a firefighter, but then there's also like a Harley Quinn and a Poison Ivy and somebody who also kind of looks just like a Black Canary and Zatanna, and like I love that they kind of included both, and I'm like, that's so funny. Like I it's like, congrats Ollie, keep that arrow in its quiver is what the banner says above the door.
Which again is a nod to the fact that like Ollie has cheated on Dinah at this point, like no less than 7 or 8 times. Like not in this comic, but like in their history, right? Like it's happened a lot.
What I love too is there's like this little cut scene where it's where he's like, what do you suppose Dinah's party is doing? And they're like, oh, with those girls probably drinking herbal tea and swapping stories about their contempt for men. And then it's like a shot of like them at a male strip club.
And like aggressively too. They're being like, take your dick out. Yeah. They're like screaming at the strippers. Oh, actually, I think Zatanna is yelling. Yes. She's yelling, take it off in backward speak. Like she's casting spells to remove their clothes.
Yeah, it literally says, take it off, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few fun things. So they're at a male strip club
called the Meat Locker. There's at least one panel where you see Wonder Woman being like walked off with like some stripper, like they're all there. Which is, oh my God, it's so good.
And they're all there like as heroes too. Like when the guys go out, they're not dressed up in their like
That's true.
hero
I didn't
costumes.
Think about that.
When the women go out, like Wonder Woman's in her outfit. It's pretty funny, actually.
It's so good. I love there's like what is it, like Black Canary's like, seriously, I think mom would really be thrilled at how many of these folks are going to show up and see us and tie the knot, and someone and like they're doing that while like her sister's like slapping somebody's ass.
That's I think that's Babs. I think that's
oh sorry,
I think that's Barbara.
Yeah. It's just, and so then the final line is like, how do they think everybody's going to fit? Like, there's going to be so many heroes, and that's when you find out that they're inside of the original first headquarters of the JLA.
Yeah, Mount Justice,
the cave.
Yeah, Mount Justice in Happy Harbor, which people that watch Young Justice know that's a location that show uses. So yeah, they repurpose the cave for the purposes of the wedding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I love that. And, Black Canary's like outfit, she's still like got the fishnets on.
The fishnets and like her wedding dress, corset and all that, but it's all white instead.
Yeah. Which I think it's so funny. But yeah, you start seeing everybody in the costumes. You get a giant panel before that of everybody in the original headquarters, and like you can go through, and it's like a Where's Waldo, like everybody's there, like Beast Boy, Mr. Miracle, like everybody is there. Hawkman, like Hawkwoman.
Mr. Miracle and Big Barda are both there, and
it's crazy, like literally, like so much of like anybody who's been associated like with the Justice League is in there.
Which again is a thing that Clark has brought up earlier, which is like, what a lovely gift, like that they get together and it's not because someone died or because the universe is falling apart, that they're getting together for something positive and they're all in the same place. Mm-hmm. So like even as a reader, you get to sort of get the sense of what Clark was excited about.
Yeah. I think it's funny. There's like 4 black people, I think, in that whole thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, is Jefferson there when they go out for the bachelor party? Does Jefferson join?
No, I don't think so. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just a bunch of white dudes. Yeah, no, Jefferson's not there. Oh, okay. It's literally just white dudes, not even any of the like alien characters.
Well, maybe John Johns is just turned into a white dude for the purposes of the bachelor party.
Yeah, just because he wants to make it easier, like,
or he's there with the women because he is the Martian Manhunter.
Nice.
Well,
have they ever made him gay? Because that would be funny.
I don't know that they have or not. No,
they should.
There's a Robot Chicken sketch where a bunch of them go to the strip club and Aquaman tries to hit on this woman and then the woman transforms into John Johns. He's like, sometimes I just like to go out and have a drink by myself. and they like start teasing Aquaman. It's like, you just got manhunted.
That's so funny. Oh my God. I love that show. That show, like, I gotta go back and watch that. So we're having a great wedding and then suddenly missiles launch.
Yes. Nukes.
Yes. They're all directed towards, obviously, this huge wedding party. And suddenly this portal opens and Deathstroke comes out.
Well, so the nukes launch. The heavy hitters fly off to stop them. Mm-hmm. Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman. Like, the big guns go to deal with the nukes. And then this portal opens. And, Deathstroke comes through. And as do a number of other villains.
Yeah, and the big sort of huge fight finally starts. I love one of the biggest concerns is the wedding ring gets like shot out.
Oh yeah, it's starting to like bounce away. Yeah,
and she's just like, "That's my fucking wedding ring," and like, he's just like, "We can deal with this later," and she's just like, "No."
Well, yeah, it's funny because they're playing on the idea of like the stress of a wedding day.
Yeah.
And then when something goes wrong, but instead of the thing going wrong being that the steak is cold, the thing going wrong is that all of their villains show up to kill them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. It's kind of like a funny setup, but it's a really like relatable kind of reaction, which is like, this is a small thing that is not necessarily the most important part of the day, but because they've been planning it, it becomes important.
I love that the ring, like Deathstroke has the ring at one point. He's like holding it between his fingers and Black Canary's like, give it back. And he's like, I believe the cliche is come and get it.
Yeah.
It's just this book like knows what it is.
It is, yeah.
It's super self-aware. I love at one point he like holds the ring on his like the end of his sword. Yeah. Like it knows what it is. It's having so much fun with these characters. It's a thing. It's a way that you can play with the stakes and with the characters and you'll be like, well, it's a wedding. It's like things are a little bit heightened, things are a little bit weirder. Like you can play with the like tropes of these characters that may not necessarily be this. Like everybody's a little bit more heightened, everybody's a little bit more funny. Like,
well, yeah, and there's a couple of splash pages during this fight. You see like all sorts of villains in there too. I think I'm gonna forget his name, but I'm pretty sure you see Mr. Horrific.
Oh, really?
That might not be his actual name, but he's like the counter version to Mr. Terrific.
Really?
Instead of wearing a jacket that says fair play, he's got one that says foul play.
Really?
And I think that's Mr. Horrific.
So amongst all of these heroes, one of them that we haven't seen yet, and we found out that he wasn't coming, was Batman.
Yes.
Batman's not to be seen, but not for long. Because Batman shows up and it's so fun. This is again what you were saying is even Batman's funnier in this. Yeah. Because they're just like oh like you came,
or you said you weren't coming, and he says not for the wedding, I'm here for the fight.
Which is it's like the best like joke Batman could make. I think it's like the perfect like
that, but Batman is like that in comics. Even the movies haven't. I mean, maybe the Burton movies come
or Lego Batman.
Burton movies and Lego Batman maybe come closest to the idea of like that Batman is serious, but he also like kind of likes being Batman, like at least a little bit.
It's true.
But so you also learn through this fight that they are sealed in. So somehow they've gotten through Zatanna's defenses, thanks to Warp, the guy that sort of has been opening these portals. But they also have them sealed in now. So they shot those nukes to get characters like Superman and Green Lantern out of there, and then they sealed them out to try and deal with everyone else. Like that's the villain's plan. That's the best plan they came up with, is like, we can only get like 6 of the big guns out of the way. We'll try and kill someone. Like,
which again, they don't kill anybody.
No, they don't. It's a complete failure. Yeah.
Complete failure. So I love when we finally start seeing a Green Lantern throwing some stuff around.
Yeah.
I love this version of the Green Lantern's light, which is like this pixelated look.
Sure, yeah.
I really enjoy that because you're taking someone's mind and constructing something. It makes sense that it would be a little pixelated,
right?
Like for some reason, it makes a lot of sense for me, and I like that version of it. It's It's not everybody's favorite version of Green Lantern that's doing this, but. But I love it. Like you get those fight scenes that feel like they're legitimately out of like a movie or something. Like everybody's like, it's at your 6 o'clock, and like it feels like a modern day sort of superhero movie.
And that kind of like superhero quippy thing between each other that we have only really gotten to see in something like the Avengers, because that's maybe the
tone for that,
and it's one of the only like superhero team movies that is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, in something like that, like you get that, you're 6 o'clock, but then there's also like, doesn't Black Canary kick Deathstroke in the balls or some shit?
Yeah,
like
it's
like there's some like, it's not all just, it's serious in that they're ruining their wedding and also they're trying to kill the heroes, but it's not serious in that like the comic itself is having fun with the idea that like the villains know they're not going to win, but they're just fighting anyway. Like it's almost like they're all just having a good time. Like it's almost like they're meeting to play Ultimate Frisbee.
It kind of like it turns into like the like after the wedding party.
Yeah,
like that's kind of what everybody's just like. We all just got to come here. The only way we can all come together is if we're fighting. Like it's so we'll just do this, but really everybody's just enjoying themselves.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that way.
I love that. I think that's such a. There's some really great play with framework in this, which I always really appreciate when you sort of get that sort of like disconnected frames, but then like an item that goes in between multiple. Like I always like that kind of look.
Yeah.
I think there's a gorilla in the background. I'm not sure if that's Grodd or who that is.
Well, no, I think because he's holding the brain, so I think that's Monsieur. I think that's Monsieur Mala.
Okay,
that's the one Kyle Clark always talks about, where they make out before they explode in that one comic.
Yes,
because they're in love.
Yes, of course. But we get 3 Green Lanterns here. Which it's nice to see them all together like that.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, these are some great panels. Like I love the thick, border work on all the characters. Like everybody really pops. Like it's not extremely stylized, but in a way that it feels, everything, it matches, the artwork matches the tonality. Everything just feels fun and poppy. Like, I would take any one of these frames and have this as a piece of art.
Yeah.
I really, really, I love the artwork in this. So everybody finally, like, they slowly sort of capture everybody that's been battling, put them in, like, Green Lantern has them in these little, like, bubbles and sort of, like, ties them all up.
Deathstroke gets away.
Yes.
Warps him out of there. But he's, I think, the only one that gets away. Or one of the only ones,
So there's a line. It's like I thought it was fun. I mean, in the end, don't you? Which I love that everybody. It is fun. Like at the end, like everybody did kind of have a good time.
Again, though, they're taking something and riffing on a real thing, right? You know, like in a wedding, sometimes things go wrong or hilariously wrong, and it's. You know, even though there's stresses on the day and you want things to be perfect, like ultimately, did you get married? Yes. Were all of your friends and family there? Yes. Then it was a good day. And that's what this is. But instead of it, again, being that the cake fell over, it's that a bunch of people tried to kill them.
I love you mean after the Suicide Squad booked everyone except Deathstroke, figures that bastard would be the only one to escape through that warp hole. Yeah. Just really fun little things, and someone's like, exactly, right before the cake, like I think it's almost as if the villains were invited.
Yeah.
Which and then you get like, I couldn't have done it without the melee, but yes, in the end it was lovely.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of as if it was all intentional. Like they knew.
Well, you do get the sense that even though the villains want to kill them, that people with powers or that like heroes and villains are kind of their own community. There's almost some sort of unspoken understanding. Like everyone at that wedding was like, there's a chance that we're going to get attacked. And all of the villains showing up are like, we'll probably lose.
We got like we can't not.
There's all these like weird unwritten like social contracts between these heroes and villains, which is kind of funny.
So battle's over, and now we get we shoot right forward to sort of the wedding night.
That's right. Resume sexiness.
Yes, exactly. And good Lord, I mean, Black Canary. I mean, was it a man or a woman who did the artwork for this?
Woman, Amanda Connor.
I love that, like, a woman drew this. Like, makes me feel a little bit less creepy, at least.
Right, that we're not just doing the male gaze thing.
Yeah, like, she's drawn with, like, more realistic figure, but still extremely attractive.
I gotta say, like, confession on my part, lots of people out there are super into the Harley Quinn thing or super into the Wonder Woman thing.
Yeah.
Black Canary. All the way.
Yeah, no wonder
I'm not, like... I don't do that in my private life, but if I did, Black Canary would be the way to go. Also,
like, it makes sense why you like Dove so much in the Titans, because it's a very this vibe.
Oh, that's true too, actually, yeah.
You gotta think.
Oh. Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I get it. So there's so you get them they're like about to like obviously consummate the marriage.
Of all of the times to like gingerly step around how to say something in the history of this podcast, this is when you're doing it?
I'm not a crude person, okay? I'm a gentleman.
Right, yeah.
So they gonna be fucking, and then...
Well, you know, sorry, just before we move into like the plot point that's coming up here.
Yeah.
Since we are talking about the sexiness in this issue, we talked about it before where they're fighting and then they start tearing their clothes off. And then here on the wedding night, like this comic is sexy, but these characters are like that. Even not with each other, like when they've had their own other sort of dalliances and that, like Green Arrow and Black Canary are both like sexual creatures. Like that is a dynamic of that relationship that this comic actually portrays very well. Like there are later comics or earlier, I can't remember precise ordering, possibly later.
Yeah.
There are times where like they make reference to like neighborhood windows being shattered because Black Canary has like screamed during sex. Like that she's like ruined the neighborhood like supply of glass.
Wow.
like these are sexy characters.
Yeah,
and this comic does a very good job of sort of shifting gears from like fun to sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're about to do it, if you will, when suddenly something comes over Ollie. He gets this sort of red hue to his eye.
Yeah.
And he hadn't been smoking that ganja.
We also just should clarify, like it comes over him like COM.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't.
This comic doesn't go there.
Yeah, I know. Though it could have. I've been okay with that. But suddenly he pulls out his knife.
Yeah.
And again, not a euphemism.
Actual knife.
Yeah. And starts trying to attack Black Canary.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy. And it just ends there.
Well, it shifts to scary very quickly.
Yeah,
and Dinah's like, Ollie, Ollie, Ollie. And then she grabs an arrow and stabs him through the throat and kills him.
Oh, she does kill him.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And that's where the issue ends. And then, like, this again is the issue that kicks off a Green Arrow Black Canary series.
So how does that work?
I mean, it's been enough years that this isn't really a spoiler.
No.
It's not really Ollie, of course.
Uh-huh.
It's every man who can sort of take the form of other people. Every man, I think, showed up on The Flash in the TV show. He was that, like, no kind of face guy that could, like, change his... You know, the one that like Thawne ends up using to pose as him, and
yeah.
So every man is the one that Dinah ends up killing there. But
okay, that makes.
But yeah, so this issue, like, it switches between fun, sexy, scary. Like, there's a lot going on, and actually, all of it is treated pretty well.
It's all done very, very well, but with like. I think the artwork makes this entire book.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it.
So just like generally speaking, so you've already said that this is maybe the most fun comic that you have read
without a doubt
to date.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's one of those things where like, because it's like a one shot in a very specific event, it gets to be that fun? Like, do you think you would be up for reading an entire series?
I would totally
that felt like that.
I'd at least read it a trade for sure.
Yeah.
I would without like I love this tone. I think it's really fun. It's nice to take these DC characters and bring them into this kind of world.
Yeah.
I think that you could totally do it with a full book. I'd be really interested to see something like that.
You'd probably like the
it's 5 out of 5 capes for me. I'll tell you. Like,
wow, there you go. You'd probably like the Starfire series that Amanda Connor also did the artwork for.
Oh yeah, I'm into it, and I love Starfire. So I love this book. I think it's a lot of fun.
Wow,
it was
5 out of 5 capes.
Yeah.
You didn't even hesitate either.
No, without a doubt. I just really, really enjoyed this story. I love the artwork. I love the storytelling. I think that it's a fun book that you could reread.
Yeah.
And the art, you could use it as a coffee table book just because the artwork is so good.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, there's some pages that are a little too sexy for the kids, but
Dash will close the Green Arrow Black Canary Wedding Special.
Yeah. I'll just cut out that last page. Yeah.
Now, did this book make you interested in learning more about Green Arrow and Black Canary? Like, A, reading the series that spins out of this, but also B, like going back, finding older stuff that includes the two of them. Like, has it sparked an interest specifically in those characters? Or
no, not really.
Okay.
I think that if it was more of this writing, this artwork, I would do more of this book. But if it's not like this, not particularly. Like, it doesn't like show me.
So it's more about the tone than anything specific about those characters.
Yeah. There's no real character development in this, except for like a little bit of like explaining their fun relationship, which like, there's a part of me that would be like, oh, if there's a book that's like this, but is there relationship? Sure, I would read that, but it doesn't make me like want to know more about them.
Right.
I just enjoy they do a really good job at like making them believable and you believe the relationship. And
so if the big takeaway is that you like the tone of the book, you like the way it's written, but it's not necessarily hooking you in terms of those specific characters, is there a set of characters whose relationship or the characters that you are interested in that you would want to see get this kind of tonal treatment? So if it doesn't have to be about Green Arrow, Black Canary, who would you want to, where you'd actually see their relationship, but it'd also feel like this?
One, I would just love to see anything with like Ralph Dibny.
Oh, like Ralph and Sue?
Yeah, this would be a super fun book, I think, and would make a lot of sense.
Oh, that would be such a nice book. Just him solving mysteries and her helping him solve the mysteries, like a detective duo.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the one that jumps out to me like right away.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would be down for like I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah. Just basically like a mystery duo kind of thing. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
That would be fun. I like that idea.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it for this episode, this special Valentine's Day episode.
Yeah. Definitely go check it out. Green Arrow Black Canary Wedding Special #1. It's on Comixology. It's probably in a long box somewhere in a comic book shop.
At the end of the day, if you've read this book and you know this writer and this artist, and if there's anything or other artists and writers that you think that would be similar to this, send them to me, because I'm into this style right now. So if there's anything out there, like, let me know. I would love to read more like this. And if you would love to see anybody else get this treatment, reach out to us too. You can do you can do so through our various social media platforms, such as our Facebook,
Dr. DC Podcast,
our Twitter
at Dr. DC.
Instagram,
Dr. DC Podcast.
Our email,
drdcpodcast@gmail.com.
And then have the conversations about this and start recommending books to each other. Talk to each other online. It doesn't always have to be a conversation with us. It can just be with each other, but start posting some stuff on our subreddit.
r/Dr_DC.
And then also you can go to our website,
drdcpodcast.com or .ca.
We got some merch up there, some articles, things like that. Or just leave us a voice message at 208-917-3238. It's 208-917-DCEU. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and leave us reviews and all that fun stuff.
That's right.
I think that's it for this week. So we'll be back in a few days because this is the special. So it's not necessarily a week.
So this is Thursday.
Oh, so it's almost a week.
It's almost a week.
Yeah. We'll see you next week. Same doc time, same doc channel.
Adios.
Ciao, ciao.
They always fight for what is right. Live with danger and adventure. They are men of might.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.